Welcome to day 12 of One Zentangle A Day. It is wonderful to see all of your smiling faces today. Today we're talking about balance. We're talking about balancing the two kind of opposites here, harmony and variety. If you have too much harmony, nobody wants to look at your art because it's all boring. If you have too much variety, nobody wants to look at your art because it doesn't feel like anything belongs together. So, what does all this mean in terms of a Zentangle? Today we're going to learn 3 patterns, and notice that all 3 of these patterns start out the same way. If you use patterns that start the same way, you're going to have a lot of harmony because they're all built on the same basic structure. But notice that all of these patterns end up looking very different in the end. They've got a similar underlying structure, but different things are added on top. That's the harmony, the underlying structure. That's the variety, the different things added on top. Now, to be clear, there's lots of different ways that you can balance harmony and variety in your Zentangles and in your other artwork. But this is one super simple way to make sure that patterns feel like they belong together, but also are different. The harmony side will make your art feel like everything belongs together, and the variety side will make things interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and start the first step of all 3 of these patterns, Beelight, Chillon, and Bales. All of them start with a diagonal grid of curved diagonal lines. But from that point, they all go in different directions. I'm going to start with Beelight. Notice that this one has little circles in the corner. They're all on the right-hand corner. This is very, very similar to a pattern that we learned 2 days ago, Flukes. But instead of diamonds at the top, we're doing circles on the right. And then, just like we did on the Flukes pattern 2 days ago, but instead of making little V shapes, little angles, we're making little curves that wrap around it. So this is basically exactly the same as that pattern, but also notice that little sparkles are left to make it look like there's a light shining into that. There, and that's all there is to it. Beelight is very similar to that Flukes pattern we did 2 days ago. Chillon is a very different take on it though. See, with Chillon, instead of, working our way out from a corner, we're actually dealing with the edges, the sides here. Notice that we're coming in and making little curved loops along each side. So, from corner to corner. Now, we started off doing that on the bottom left side of each diamond, and now we want to do the bottom right side of each diamond. And that is it for the Chillon pattern. Notice that in the Chillon pattern, we don't do every side like we do with Bales. With Bales, we're going to actually do all 4 sides of each diamond. But with Chillon, we're going to stop there. Then with Bales, we're going to do exactly the same thing, except we're going to do all 4 corners, all 4 edges. Oh, I missed one. Right there and right there. Anyway, so once you've done all of those, then we go back to these little sort of diamondy shapes inside, and we make auras inside. So we just follow that shape, follow that shape. Now, I did leave out shading. I'm going to go back and shade all 3 of these. Notice that for Chillon and Bales, all we're doing is some rounding around the edges. And for Beelight, we're just shading the top left of each diamond that makes it look like they're dropping a shadow from the top left onto the ones underneath it. So that's, let's see, that's in Beelight. Let's do that. And these just look like little cast shadows, like the different layers overlap each other. And then for Chillon and Bales, it's just rounding, which is exactly what we talked about yesterday. So we'll just go around the edges. And there, that was super, super simple, just balancing harmony and variety. So what I'm actually going to do next is I'm going to make a Zentangle tile where all of the patterns that I use start with this underlying structure. So I've drawn a border and a couple of strings in here, and here's my thought. My thought is I'm going to go ahead and just draw this base structure over the entire Zentangle, and then in each of these 5 different sections do different patterns that use the same base. Alright, so I've done a couple of different things here to make this middle pattern stand out. Number one, I did round the edges with some shading, and I also added a drop shadow underneath it onto this pattern, not on the top one. I felt that this one was airy enough that it felt more like this is like a sky above, so it's not going to have a shadow on it, it's just an airy space. But this down here felt more grounded. I also rounded the edges of this pattern, and I went back in with a pen to shade that cast shadow. I used hatching to make that cast shadow underneath the big ovally shape. So I'm going to go ahead and assign that and call it done. This entire picture balances harmony and variety. By the harmony, everything has the same underlying diagonal crisscrossy line structure, and variety, there's 3 different patterns that use that same structure in different ways. If you've enjoyed this series so far, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the videos with your friends, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 13.